The Republican Party, which controls all three branches of government, is simply powerless in this new government shutdown. Boy, when will they catch a break? This is just another day. Today is day one of the shutdown in our federal government, and while the pain is already being felt by many, members of the Trump administration are working tirelessly to find common ground that will bring an end to all of this.
Democrats in Congress have officially shut down the United States government.
Wow, I haven't seen a white woman play the victim card like that since some black people tried to have a barbecue in the park. But yes, the fact remains that while Republicans control all three branches of government and Donald Trump has never met a section of the Constitution he wouldn't trample over, there is simply nothing that Republicans can do to fix this. Now, at the heart of this debate is the position from Democrats who want to extend the ACA subsidies that are already in place but are set to expire at the end of this year, which would mean an increase in premiums for tens of millions of Americans as far as their healthcare is concerned. Democrats are not looking for anything extra, merely a continuation of these subsidies which benefit millions of lower and middle class people in blue and red states. But the Republican position is...
What they have done instead is to shut down the government because we won't give billions of dollars to healthcare funding for illegal aliens. That is what has actually happened.
Hold on. You're saying that the Democrats, in their meeting with you and the president, said, we will only open the government if you give billions of dollars of healthcare funding to illegal aliens?
They said to us, we will open the government, but only if you give billions of dollars of funding for healthcare for illegal aliens. That's a ridiculous proposition.
Yes, I agree. That is a ridiculous proposition. It is also a ridiculous lie. If you go to the ACA's own website, which by the way is managed by Trump's federal government, it says, quote, undocumented immigrants can't get marketplace health coverage. And that's a point that's been proven time and time again. Not a dime of federal funds for healthcare are available for undocumented immigrants. So where did this lie come from? There's no way that all of these people would stake their credibility on a bald-faced lie. Okay, bad example. But surely there is some basis for this talking point, right?
1.4 million illegal aliens being on Medicaid, particularly Medicaid expansion, is a CBO, Congressional Budget Office number. I didn't make it up.
Yeah, he didn't make it up. He just made some of it up during a televised congressional hearing. Here's what Representative Griffith is referencing. The fact that 1.4 million lawfully present immigrants are expected to lose health coverage due to the 2025 tax and budget law. Keyword, lawfully present immigrants. See, when you change just a few small words, it makes a world of difference. Like when I say Congressman Griffith is pretending to be a dumb asshole, when in reality, he is a lying asshole. See? Tiny change, big difference. The issue here is that even though the reality is that 1.4 million lawfully present immigrants will lose health care, along with the millions of U.S. citizens who will also lose health care, the GOP refuses to acknowledge their lawful status, so they dub these people as illegal, apropos of nothing, by fiat, which is not how life works in a democracy. I mean, just because I think Stephen Miller is a demonic parasite sent from the netherworld to prey on the souls of babies, that doesn't take away his legal status in this country. But I suppose expecting Republicans to care about what's real and what isn't is a fool's errand at this point, considering they find not real things hilarious.
The president's been posting some images of Leader Jeffries and Senator Schumer.
I saw
recently. You've said that you're interested in good faith negotiations with these leaders, but what message does that send? Is it helpful to post pictures of Leader Jeffries in a sombrero if you're trying to have good faith talks with him?
Oh, I think it's funny. The president's joking, and we're having a good time. You can negotiate in good faith while also poking a little bit of fun.
Come on, guys. This is Donald. I have a great sense of humor. Trump we're talking about. He loves comedy. Kimmel, Colbert, SNL. There's only one time in Trump's White House, and that is laughter o'clock.
The White House is firing back at Comedy Central's South Park after the season premiere. The episode Wednesday included a scene showing President Trump lying in bed with Satan, who also had a previous relationship with Saddam Hussein on the show. On Thursday, a White House spokesperson issued a statement saying, quote, South Park hasn't been relevant for more than 20 years.
Which is why we, the White House, are issuing a statement about this cartoon, because of its total irrelevance. Look, the essential question which needs to be asked of the Republican Party is, what do they believe is the responsibility of government? Also would love to ask if Russ Vought and Brendan Carr are actually the same person, because we've never seen them in the same room together, and I find that extremely concerning. But if we have to focus on one question, let's stick with, what do Republicans believe is the responsibility of the federal government? Because clearly, they don't believe it should be to provide Americans with health care. In their one big beautiful bill, Republicans cut $1 trillion worth of health coverage for people. They kicked 17 million Americans off of Medicaid and have put the elderly in this country in peril by not simply gutting Social Security, but by tarnishing the reputation of the entire program, falsely claiming that millions of dead people were receiving benefits. And Republicans clearly don't believe the government should help our nation's most vulnerable with food assistance, because if they did, I don't think they would have cut $230 billion from the SNAP program. Republicans don't believe the government should put federal dollars toward education, because if they did, I doubt they'd want to dismantle the entire education department. For all the love Republicans claim to have for our military, it clearly doesn't extend to taking care of them, because if they did, they probably wouldn't have fired 10,000 veterans from the VA. So while the GOP clearly thinks it is abhorrent to spend federal dollars on our nation's most vulnerable, and they are willing to shut down the government before helping them, let's remind ourselves which government expenditures they didn't take issue with. The billion-dollar retrofit of a Qatari jet for Donald Trump, Republicans didn't seem to flinch on that one. The millions of dollars it cost to fly in our nation's top military personnel so that they could be present for this historic lecture.
It's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look.
Yup, appearance matters. And when you address career admirals and generals like they're first-timers at your CrossFit gym, you give the appearance that you're not cut out for the job, and then it reflects poorly on the entire organization. But the GOP didn't have a problem with the price tag for that speech. Or how about the trillions in tax cuts handed out to the wealthiest people in this country? Nope, Republicans were so proud of doing that, they gathered around Dear Leader to watch as he used his tiny little fingers to sign that bill into law. The reality is, the Republican Party feels it is the responsibility of the federal government to take from our nation's most vulnerable and give it to our country's most fortunate. But they can't say that out loud, because that would make them look like selfish, money-grubbing assholes, so again, they start a culture war rooted in a completely fabricated idea.
Billions of dollars to health care funding for illegal aliens.
They wanted to give health care to illegal aliens.
Free health care for illegal aliens.
See, saying healthcare for illegal aliens 3 times is kind of the same thing as saying Beetlejuice 3 times, except instead of him appearing, all we get is a xenophobic narrative that further fuels hatred and division in our country. And you gotta think Lauren Boebert is not gonna stroke someone off to that. Actually, wrong question. The Republican Party does not care about providing assistance to anyone, except for those who need it least. Or maybe I'm wrong and...
The president's joking, and we're having a good time.
Totally. Great time. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.